Hi everybody, I'm Dena and welcome back to Fletcher Creek Cottage. So I don't know if you follow me over on Instagram at Fletcher Creek Cottage, but if you do, then you already know. My husband and I, we are building our DIY dream home this summer. Yes, we are doing it again. Most of you know that we built this entire home from the ground up and we did all of the labor, and we have plans to build our dream home on our 65 acres out here on Fletcher Creek, and that's what we're going to be doing this summer. So we're going to be breaking ground. We're going to be sharing all of the information, everything from design and blueprints with you guys, but also step-by-step vlog style as we go through this entire process of building a house together as a family, all, you know, DIY. This is something that my husband and I have been dreaming about for over 20 years. We wanted to build our own custom home, and yes, I know we did build our cottage. Yes, we did. We designed it, we built it from the ground up, we did all of the labor ourselves, and that was a huge undertaking, but we've always dreamt about building our own dream home, custom, and we are at the stage now where we are ready to break ground on that home, and we couldn't be more excited. We're gonna be taking you guys along for the entire journey. We're gonna be documenting it here on YouTube as well as over on my blog, FletcherCreekCottage.com. And of course, you'll find me on Instagram and in stories over at Fletcher Creek Cottage.
Good morning, everyone. So we were out here late last night staking the house, and it's about 6 o'clock this morning, and we did have a frost last night. Oh, but here's a look at some of the stakes. We're gonna break ground this morning. So now I'm standing on the west side. You can see the cottage, the pavilion, and then you can see the back corner of our bedroom here, and then the whole rest of the house goes out onto the hill. The reason why we chose to build a little bit further back is because it is a walkout, and you can't really tell from this video, but this is quite a slope, and it really is a big hill once it gets down towards the trees. So we wanted to move it back a little bit, and we wanted to move it a little bit to the south to get some of these beautiful views behind me. This will be my kitchen window view, which is super exciting. It's one of my favorite views. It was a little tricky last night staking this out, simply because all of this dirt right here, the sand, we had actually used this to build up grade to build our pavilion 2 summers ago. So we have this massive hole here, and you know, once our blueprints were completed, we decided to move the house over and back a little bit on this hill. So some of our stakes are actually way down there. I don't know if you can see. My husband couldn't really stake it, so he just tossed it down in the hole. But we are pretty well laid out. We've got the 4 corners of the main part of the living room, dining room, kitchen area, and mudroom, and then over here, bedrooms, and then this front part here is going to be the garage. So we've got everything pretty well staked, other than that one in the hole, and we've got it. We've got spray paint lined out, and of course we're going to dig it bigger to allow some room for working. So you can see here that we have a lot of the footings dug out after we excavated for the basement. We have our pile way over there of sand that was dug out, and then on this side here we've got all of our topsoil saved so we can reuse that around the house later. But you can tell that we've got quite a bit of digging left to do on this corner here, and then up on the other level up here is where the garage is going to be. So this down here is the basement. That'll be where the garage is. Our driveway will just continue past the cottage right into this new garage. And we obviously, you can see we've got all our strings, but we've got to add some batterboard here and over on this corner here so we can get a straight line. One of the challenges you can see is that we have pure sand. So of course we're having to fight with a little bit of erosion as we're digging. So we're just making our trenches a little bit wider than we need to make them. And the day before we set our form boards, we will just clean these up a little bit to make sure that they're at the right depth, but also the right width. Good morning, guys. I am heading out to the job site this morning. We are gonna get some shoveling done. We are still working on the footings simply because we've had a lot of rain. It's a little bit overcast, but it's in the 80s. So it's hot, but at least we're not in direct sunlight. So we're gonna try and get quite a bit shoveled today for the footings. We've got probably 3/4 of it done, if not more, but we still have about 30 feet on this east wall to shovel out, and then we've probably got around 20 feet or so, give or take, on this west wall, or south wall. Pointing backwards, that gets confusing. But anyway, that's what we're up to today. I'm gonna get the transit set up. Because we have had so much rain, we've got a little bit of like erosion and washout from all of our sand that we have here. So I've got to clean up some of the footing trenches that we've dug already and make sure those are really, really perfect before we set our form boards. Our goal is to get that done this week. So we can get some concrete poured and get some footings in the ground. It always feels super official when you get your blueprints, but then way more official when you break ground and get concrete in the ground. Another thing we're gonna be doing, I think today, is ordering our Fox block. So we are building both stories of this house, the walkout basement and the second story, using ICF wall system from Fox Blocks. We have not done this for a home ourselves before, but my brother-in-law has done it quite a few times, and he's also building his home right now, and he built it using ICF. And then my other sister actually built their house using ICF walls from Fox Blocks as well. They have what's called a berm house, which is like a home that's like in the ground. It's like a dugout, and you can actually park on the roof. It's a concrete roof, and I think they plan on having a garden up there. But anyway, it's a really cool cottagey type house on their property, and we were able to go out and help them set some of those walls, and we were there for 4 days, so we learned a lot just working with them, and we've done a lot of research, and we really love the ICF walls for so many reasons, which I'll go into in a blog post. But today, we're just gonna focus on digging out the rest of these footings and getting everything all set so we can set form boards later this week. I think we always knew that we would build a home, a custom home for our family. I just don't think that we thought we would do all of the work ourselves. To be able to afford what we want and have the quality of work that we want in a home, we have to do the work ourselves. So we're very excited to start this. We're also very nervous. We know that it's gonna be a huge undertaking. We built our cottage from the ground up all ourselves, so we definitely know what we're in for. We know that there's gonna be a lot of roadblocks and hurdles along the way, but it's gonna be worth it. It's gonna be amazing when it's done. It's one of those things that we've dreamt about for so long that it just doesn't seem real that we're actually standing here at the starting line. Good morning. So this morning we are up pretty early. We are getting started around 6:30.
because today we've got to get all of our form boards in for our footings, and we've rented some form boards from a guy that we know, and we've also hired him and a couple of his buddies to help us get these footings in the ground. And hopefully in the next day or two, we'll have all of the footings in, the rebar in place, and everything that we need to be able to pour. And then we're gonna call and get a pump truck, and hopefully we have this all done by the end of the week. Today is Monday, so we'll see how it goes. But we're very hopeful. We're getting an early start, and I'm excited to get a lot done, excited to get concrete in the ground. Can't wait to get started this morning. So here's an overview of what our footings look like. The darker part here is the house, and then this part here is the garage. We're not working on the garage right now because that's an upper level. We're just working on the walkout basement footings, and all of this here is much deeper because it's a frost wall, and that's the walkout area. So we've got a lot of different angles here to put in, and some different heights, because these footings here are not gonna be the same as all the frost wall footings as far as depth goes. Hey guys, so I feel like I am literally standing on top of the world. I am on a huge pile of sand that we dug out from the basement, and behind me here are the form boards for our footings. It is around lunchtime. The guys are taking a quick lunch break, and I thought I would get some footage of what has been accomplished so far today. As you can see behind me, quite a bit has gotten done. So over on the right here, you can see where they've got both walls of footings. We've got this outer edge and then this inner one. This is gonna be the wraparound porch on the main level, but down here in the basement, that's actually gonna be cold storage. So we've got 2 walls of footings down there. And then across here on the side, you can see how it continues forward, jogs over again and again and again. And down there is where the walkout starts. And that's where we had to drop down a few feet to meet frost wall code. And then you can see all the way across the back here and that corner, and then back up this side where it'll meet here. That's where the walkout basement portion will end. And we still have a little bit of progress to make there. We are not quite done. We've got to go from here to there. But all the other footings are in place. It's quite a bit of progress to make before lunchtime. It's fantastic. It gives me hope that we will get these finished and some concrete poured this week. Now, of course, these footings are for the basement later on, after these are poured, after we have stacked our ICF walls and poured those. We will be bringing in fill, compacting it, and then later we'll be digging out all the footings up here for the garage on the main level. It feels really good to actually have these in the ground, especially since we are on sand and we've had a lot of trouble with rain and erosion and trying to keep these trenches dug out. So after we get these poured with concrete in them, it's gonna feel really, really amazing, and we're not gonna have to fight so hard to keep this clean. This home is going to be extremely efficient. There's not going to be any wasted space. Every little detail is designed for a reason and a purpose, and that's one of my favorite things about being able to build a custom home is you know, we're not wasting any space, we're not wasting any money building something that we won't be using. We're really utilizing you know, the square footage to the best of our ability for our family's needs, and that is pretty cool. So it is Wednesday morning. We've got all of the rebar in place. We've got everything wired in, and we're getting ready for our concrete pour. We were able to secure a pump truck. The one that we had ordered broke down, and so we had to call around, and we were able to get one. It was
We were supposed to pour this morning and pour until later this afternoon. And I've been here getting some things ready to go for our pour, and then by this afternoon we should be good to go. So you can kind of see here how all of the rebar is laid and how we've got the cross sections here overlapping 2 feet. These are number 5 rebar. That's just what the specs called for our house, because this is going to be well, this is the lower level, this is the basement, but this is going to be a 2-story ICF house. So you can see the footings up there, and I'm actually standing down here on the lower level where the frost wall starts. So this is how we blocked it off. We've got our main footing that goes all the way around the entire house on the basement level. But then around this corner and down here, we've got it dropped down. That's for our frost wall. So when we pour concrete today, it doesn't come shooting out. We've got it blocked off right there. And then all of these footings, we're just gonna be using 2x4s to screed them. And then as we go along, we're gonna be placing the vertical rebar, and that'll be what the Fox Blocks ICF walls sit on top of. And the rebar that comes up out of the ground will hold it in place and secure the Fox Blocks walls to the footings. So yeah, we've got a lot of work ahead of us today, but we are very, very glad that we're gonna be able to pour. Our pour isn't scheduled until later this afternoon, which meant that my husband and brother and son and my dad were able to go help my brother-in-law, who's actually pouring his ICF walls this morning as well. So it's a very busy, busy day for our family. It always feels good to make huge progress and get concrete in the ground. So we're looking forward to today. So the pump truck is here. We are very, very hopeful that we are gonna be able to get him to back up as close as possible, and we'll be able to reach all the far corners. If we don't, it's gonna be a lot of carrying and shoveling concrete. It's gonna be really, really challenging, but thankfully we have a lot of helpers here, so it should be good.
You know, goals and dreams are a funny thing. I think we all have dreams, and sometimes they change, and sometimes they just grow bigger and bigger. They stay the same, but you get more concrete in what it is that you want and the vision that you have for your life and for your family. And that's kind of the case with us. We are just really focused on what we feel like we're called to do. And we're very excited about building a home on our little homestead here that we've been working on for the past few years, you know, almost 5 years now that we've owned this land. And it's just really exciting. It's really cool to see how things evolved. It's really neat to see how much our kids have learned building with us. And, you know, we built this cottage, we built our greenhouse and our garden beds, and we built a massive pavilion in the backyard together as a family. And it's just something that we've grown to be very passionate about, but we're also very grateful that we're just gonna be able to use the skills that we've acquired, you know, over the last 20 years of renovating different homes, and we're gonna be able to pour that into our family's home. You know, it's just gonna be really, really special.
So Preston, what do you think about building the house with us? It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You're learning a lot. Think you're gonna build your own house someday?
We are finished pouring the footings. I'm heading out there. I'm gonna give you guys a close-up look now that they're all done and everything's cleaned off. We spent, let's see, I think it was Saturday. Yeah, Saturday we spent compacting, bringing in more soil, compacting again. You've gotta compact like every 6 inches to make sure that you get a really, really solid floor to pour your concrete slab on and, you know, prevent cracking. That's super, super important. So I'm heading out there and I'm gonna show you guys all that we got done over the weekend. So we had a very productive week. You can see behind me, we were able to get all of our footings formed up. We were able to pour all of our footings, and we even spent the weekend working on bringing in more fill. So we were a little low in the center. We had to bring some fill in a lot of areas, and I ran the compactor, and my son and my husband, they shoveled. As far as down near the frost wall, the lower level, it's not at grade right there. We still are gonna have to bring in some more fill for that, but that can't happen until after we start stacking our walls, because that is quite a bit lower and we need to bring up the walls to be able to backfill. So that should happen really soon. We actually have our first delivery of ICF walls coming this week, so we can't wait to get started stacking our walls and seeing a lot more progress this week. I'm climbing up here so I can give you guys a better view of the footings completely done. And it's quite a high, so don't mind me if I'm out of breath a little bit, but there you go. You can see quite a long way. It doesn't even quite seem real. I look at it and we work on it all the time, and we've been digging and shoveling and sweating, and it's been hot. It's been a lot of hard work, and we've been really sore. It's a physical labor, and it still doesn't seem real that we're actually building our house. You know, when you dream about something for so long, sometimes in the back of your mind you wonder, like, is it ever really gonna happen, or is this just a dream, you know? And it feels really, really good to finally be actually doing this. It's not just a dream anymore, it's becoming a reality really, really fast, and I'm very proud of my kids. They've been working so hard, and my husband, and I feel very, very grateful that we are able to do this ourselves and save so much money in doing it. And we're just very, very excited. So thank you for following along. Coming up next are the ICF walls. We're gonna be stacking our walls. Those are gonna be delivered. We ordered them from Fox Blocks. We are very excited about using their ICF wall system, and we're gonna have a lot more about that in the next video. So stay tuned.